Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here to talk about my comics for the week. First of all, before I get into the comics that I bought this week, Radical Books sent me an email asking me to review some of their books on my videos. And they sent me a bunch of books, and the first book that I read from them is Aladdin, Legacy of the Lost. First of all, let me just say that this is nothing like the Disney movie Aladdin. It's better. I mean, there's still a genie that grants 3 wishes, a princess, and Aladdin the thief, and evil sorcerer, but it's better. This is really more close to the original Aladdin story from 1001 Arabian Nights, I believe the original story book is called, and it's really awesome. Most of the artwork in this is amazing. Most of the artwork in this is amazing. Most of the artwork in this is pretty good. Like, here's the genie. This is Aladdin's genie from the lamp. That's pretty awesome. I liked Aladdin. It was great. Disney's Aladdin, though, was one of my favorite movies from my childhood, and this was much better, and I loved it. It's great. It's great. I would definitely recommend you pick this up. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, this story also has Sinbad the Sailor in it as well, who helps Aladdin sort of defeat the Dark Sorcerer and all that. Alright, now for my comics. First of all, from Marvel, my second point one from Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man 654.1. However, instead of being called Amazing Spider-Man, I think this issue should have been called Venom 0.1, because the story in this is nothing but Venom. It's just another preview giving you another Flash Thompson's second mission is Venom. That's really all it is. However, while Flash is saving a captive from terrorists, he does Venom out. He does start to lose control and Venom out and become savage. And in the end, though, they do say they were only able to get 99% of the symbiote off Flash. And then when Flash is leaving, he says, "Thanks, partner." And they think he's talking to the symbiote. And our only preview for Amazing Spider-Man is 2 pages back here, which show apparently Mr. Negative killing Anti-Venom, Spidey in space, Mary Jane apparently acquires spider powers. I think maybe Phil Urch has told Nora that he's the Hobgoblin, and Peter making a comment that someone was in the lab right next to him. Oh, and plus, this does mention that apparently Spider-Man's Spidey sense is gone for now. It's gone, who knows, maybe forever, but he doesn't have it. Oh, and a new Sinister Six is going to be... And a new Sinister Six, and this looks interesting, as he's also fighting with Venom and Black Cat. So, yeah. Pretty amazing for what we have. Nice preview for what's in store for Spider-Man. I definitely look forward to this. However, if they did just immediately say that this story was about Venom, then I probably would have skipped it. And the new Venom series does look pretty interesting. I want to get it, but unfortunately I don't have the money in my budget right now to get it, so I'm going to wait for the trade paperback to come out, and maybe by then I'll be able to afford it. Alright, now for my other Marvel Girl, number 1. This story takes place for Jean Grey back in the days of the original 5 X-Men. As you can see, they've all got their yellow and blue yellow and black, navy uniforms, and they're all teenagers. And basically, this issue is just about Jean Grey trying to get control of her powers and trying to move past the death of her friend when she was a little girl. And that's all it is. I'd recommend this for Jean Grey fans or fans of the original X-Men First Class, because there will be, from this preview back here though, ignoring that, because back here they do give you a preview for 2 more X-Men First Class issues coming out. One with Cyclops, one with Angel and Iceman. I look forward to these. I'm definitely getting these 2. It was a good read. Again, only for fans of maybe the original X-Men and Jean Grey. Alright, now for one of my favorite Marvel series that's currently running, Avengers Academy number 9. We continue where we left off with Tigra expelling the 3 students who attacked the hood. And of course, though, after Tigra leaves Hazmat and Stryker being little pricks, saying that they don't need this, they'll just quit and stuff. And Vale's a little worried about what's going to happen to her since she needs Dr. Pym so she can avoid a way to die. And Hanks tells the students that they're going to have a faculty meeting about this, and for now they should all just go home. And of course, Finesse uses this time to again use the info she has on Quicksilver to blackmail him into helping her find Taskmaster, who she believes is her biological father. And since Quicksilver's doing this, the rest of the faculty is having a meeting on whether or not to expel the students. And of course, Tigra is all for it. She wants to kick him out, but Speedball, Justice, and Giant Man and Jocasta are all saying that they should keep the kids on, otherwise it'd be going against what Avengers Academy stands for. And after Quicksilver leaves to go back to the Academy, Taskmaster shows up to take on Finesse. Meanwhile, Quicksilver returns and discusses with Tigra that what they're doing to the kids is similar to what he and the Scarlet Witch went through when they were under Magneto's control, and that if they kick the kids out right now, then they'll just be putty in the hands of the next Master Manipulator who can do worse things to them. And Finesse is fighting Taskmaster, and then Taskmaster stops the fight and tells her and says that he does think that maybe there is a possibility that he is her father, but he doesn't want to give her any of her DNA because that's how he's managed to avoid the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and everyone. And he explains that the real reason he fought Finesse was because he can only remember the things that stay in his brain or other people's moves, survival skills, etc. But people and places he eventually forgets about it, and his brain, and he probably won't remember this conversation by Monday. And he tells her that if he figured he'd fight her, and if he could remember her moves, then he'd remember her. And the next day, Tigra says that Vale, Hazmat, and Stryker are not expelled, but they're on probation. And if they screw up again, then they're out of here. And Speedball says that to Tigra that she's great for getting past this and all, and having great control, and that one day the kids will realize she was a great example to them. However, later in the evening, Tigra returns to her room and watches the footage of the students kicking the Hood's ass. Avengers Academy number 9. I'd recommend this to fans of Taskmaster and Tigra. Oh, and also, this is a good and as someone who's read this series since the beginning, it's really great. I love it. It's great work. The fight between Finesse and Taskmaster is epic. It's pretty awesome. Alright, now for DC. First off, Young Justice number 1. Based off Cartoon Network's new hit cartoon TV series from DC Animation. Alright, as far as I have seen the Young Justice TV show, and it is awesome. I love it. It's amazing. The issue is pretty great too, because it deals with because it's great. This is more in line with what goes on in between the episodes of the series. For example, this is right after the first story where the team moves into the headquarters in Happy Harbor, and Superboy and Miss Martian go off to pick their rooms, and Superboy chooses a closet because it doesn't have enough space, but he feels more comfortable in it. And while Martian Manhunter and Megan go to get the rest of Megan's things, and Red Tornado leaves to go check out his systems and get them upgraded, Superboy starts hearing voices. He goes around the base to check, and he runs into a young man known as Snapper Carr. And Superboy's trying to figure out what's going on, Snapper's saying he needs to contact the Justice League immediately, and there's a supervillain in the base. And if you're getting the previews, and if you're catching the clues so far on the page about who this villain is, well, spoiler alert, it's the Joker. That's where it ends, with Superboy with his first confrontation with the Joker. Nice cliffhanger. I like this. I really am interested to know more about the Superboy and Young Justice, whereas the mainstream Connell, he's had a lot of people help him. He immediately worked with Cadmus, then eventually Superman took care of the rest of him. However, in Young Justice, Superman is distancing himself from Superboy. He pretty much doesn't want anything to do with him, which is sad. Alright, Legion of Superheroes number 10. Yeah. Let me just summarize it up in 2 main points. First of all, since Mon-El's in space trying to help Diogen rebuild the Green Lantern Corps, the runner-up in the Legion election is the new leader, which is Brainiac 5. And while Brainy sends Chameleon Boy and Girl and Phantom Girl to R.J. Brand's estate to figure out what's going on with R.J. Brand's accounts, they find the final assassin, who is Chameleon Boy's aunt, the very aunt who raised him as her own son. And basically a fight ensures, and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah. In the end, the Legion wins, and Chameleon Boy basically beats up his own aunt. Yeah. Legion. Not a bad ending, just not very exciting. Not a very exciting ending. I mean, I hope this series will get better since Paul Levitz is writing it. And the next story arc will feature the Legion of supervillains, so hopefully that'll mix things up and it'll get better. Alright, Brightest number 20. The issue known as Aqua War. After Aquaman has had his hand cut off, Deadman shows up to try to help, but the entity won't let him. And this is cool. During the fight, Mera is able to control the entire ocean to defeat the army of the Water Breakers. Yeah, I think that's cool. And once they get into the sea, Aquaman summons his army of dead sea animals. And while they're fighting the army, they're able to lead them back to the Bermuda Triangle, where Jackson, the new Aqualad, is able to open the portal and send them all back, including Black Manta. And once that's done, Aquaman tells Mera that he understands. Aquaman and Mera sort of make up, but then Deadman shows up and the entity says Aquaman has earned his life back. Then he disintegrates him. So yeah. All right, now then, the same thing that happened to Aquaman happened to the Hawks. So it might not be because the Hawks defied the entity. It might be because the entity needs them for something more. Maybe he's trying to summon all the people he brought back so that he can combat all the Black Lanterns that are returning from Deathstorm, having the White Lantern. And speaking of Deathstorm, guess who makes an appearance in Green Lantern Corps? Firestorm! After Ronnie and Jason had an argument while they were bonded, they transported themselves to Quard, and now they're trying to figure out where the White Lantern is, where Deathstorm and the White Lantern are. Meanwhile, Sinestro is fighting the Weaponer off, while the Thunder Quardanians, led by John Stewart, are taking care of the rest of the Sinestro Corps. The Sinestro basically is fighting the Weaponer, but then gains the upper hand on it, and Firestorm lends a hand. But then Sinestro gains the upper hand on the Weaponer, throws him down, and then makes the Weaponer and then Sinestro tells the Weaponer that he's impressed and makes him an offer to join the Sinestro Corps. And the Weaponer decides to take it. So now the Weaponer is a member of the Sinestro Corps. And Sinestro takes his corps and leaves and tells them that they need to get back to their own universe because of the trouble that Ganthet's trying to tell them about. And Ganthet reveals to the Green Lantern Corps that they need to get back to Earth before Corona destroys the Green Lantern Corps from within. Alright, Green Lantern Corps was a pretty exciting issue with the turn of the Weaponer, because the Weaponer wanted revenge. This started out with the Weaponer wanted revenge on Sinestro. Now he ended up joining him. Not a bad ending. But what's the Weaponer's role? My guess is he's just here to make more power rings. That's all Sinestro wants from him, because when the Weaponer put on the ring, it just said, "Welcome, Weaponer of Cord, welcome to the Sinestro Corps." Didn't give him a assigned sector, it just said, "Welcome." So, he's obviously going to be doing maintenance. Now then, Green Lantern number 62. The end of the New Guardians storyline. We get a preview here of Ganthet and Corona locking someone up, and how Corona tried to peer into see the beginning of the universe, and that led to the creation of the antimatter universe. While Hal Jordan's fighting him off, and while they're fighting, Corona's taunting Hal, saying he can control the willpower, but unfortunately Hal in control kicks his ass. Well, doesn't kick his ass. He just gives him a mega punch, attempts to lock him in his science cell, but unfortunately Corona built the science cells, imprisoned Parallax, so he knows how all this stuff works and how he can get out. And then Atrocitus shows up, which is unfortunate because Corona uses the orange entity to peer into their minds, and he learns the location of the Butcher. And with the Butcher, Corona now has control over all the entities. Well, wait, no, he doesn't have control over all of them. I think he doesn't have the Predator, unfortunately. He doesn't have the Predator. And since Corona has 6 out of 7 entities, he's able to blast back and knock out all the new Guardians. And while Hal's lying there, he hears Corona's voice saying that soon the Guardians will cast Hal Jordan down. He survived the first attempt as Parallax, but then something will come. And the Guardians, including Ganthet, are talking to the masked, chained-up figure from the beginning of the issue. And Hal wakes up on the Justice League satellite talking to Batman, Superman, and Flash. And of course, they try to talk some sense into Hal. They're trying to saying that we can help him, so that they can help Hal. But the new Guardians appear, and they say that they found Hector Hammond. They need to go after him. And Barry tells them that we will help you too. But then Hal ultimately rejects the help from the JLA and leaves with the new Guardians. So yeah, it's not like Hal's rejecting his friend. It's more of he needs to handle this by himself because it's his deal. Green Lantern number 62. Well, the ending was interesting. Not really the best, but good. Now that Corona has 6 out of 7 entities, he doesn't have the Predator. That's the only entity he does not have, is the Predator. And now they're pretty much going to find Hal, and try to stop Corona. And ultimately that's going to lead into the War of the Green Lanterns, which is coming out this summer. Oh, also, by the way, all the DC books all have little previews into the first few pages of the next issue of Green Lantern, which will be a prologue to the War of the Green Lanterns. Oh, and in Green Lantern we get another sneak peek into the new movie, which is Kilowog. Looks pretty nice. And that's all I have to say about the comics for the week. Green Lantern. Good ending, not the best, but pretty interesting to see how kind of turn his back on to see how kind of reject the offer of help from the JLA, but instead to handle it with the Guardians himself, since it's more of his problem than theirs. Green Lantern Corps number 57. Not bad ending that the villain actually turns out to ends up joining Sinestro. Brightest Day number 20. Aqua War. Pretty great. It's really making me like Aquaman. Brightest Day has made me like Aquaman so far. Legion of Superheroes number 10. Hopefully, when the Legion of Supervillains gets involved, things will get better. Young Justice number 1. Comic is as good as the TV series. Avengers Academy number 9. If you're not reading this, pick it up. Fans of the Taskmaster would enjoy this issue. Marvel Girl number 1. Fans of Jean Grey. Amazing Spider-Man 654.1. Should have been called Venom 0.1. And Aladdin, Legacy of the Lost. Awesome trade paperback. Definitely pick it up. And for my comic of the week, I would have to say my comic of the week would be Avengers Academy number 9. This is one of my favorite things. It's definitely one of my favorite series. It's awesome. And I really like the fight, how instead of a huge discussion between Taskmaster and Finesse, it was more of a fight rather than, well, they were talking while fighting, so that added an extra little flavor of interest in it. And also more radical books to come. Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.